Woo! All right. Slept for a couple hours. Now I got to drop the car off at rental Hertz. So sometimes I like to show the video with like the unpleasantries, bloodshot eyes, hair is crazy, because guess what? That's how life is. It's not perfect. And if you look closely, I am actually thinning out here. Except there's this luscious mane of Asian chia pet afro hair, and now it's thinning out. That's just me versus age. It's just what happens. It's ugly. Look at that. A little double chin there. That's a little freakish. Wow. But that's why I wear a hat. Perfect, all right? At least I showered. How's that? Just hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a fabulous day. I was actually talking with Ashley over just on DM, and she was saying, "Hey, what would you like to see?" And she's an aspiring actress, and so I said, "Hey, you know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see more of like, hey, here, like if you're an actress, right, or an actor, I'd love to see like a bunch of headshots of you just displaying emotion, right? Because that to me is exciting, right? That you're like, oh, you know, here's me surprised, here's me crying, here's me tearful. And then what would be also cool is leveraging your videos and start creating, you know, hey, here's me trying out, like documenting your story as you try out for different have different auditions. Maybe you're in different things like commercials, and then maybe doing 1-minute clips where you're showing like your acting skills and your chops in maybe some of your favorite clips, right? So here you are like portraying, you know, so that's really emotional, right? Like your version of Fences, right? And it's maybe your favorite part of what's going on there, and start creating your following there on YouTube, and it to be about your journey, right? So it doesn't need to be like this. You don't need to be like a writer or a producer or a director, but maybe there's a friend of yours that can be as aspiring aspiring videographer that could maybe videotape you, you know, just 5 minutes out of the day and just talking about your journey. Maybe you're just recapping it, and then maybe it's, you know, you splicing in some of your you know, your videos that you're taking selfie style, or maybe even with the selfie stick, and that way you can start getting together your own TV channel, right? Where you're basically having a daily vlog, more like your own daily television show. And I think, you know, that's basically reality TV, right? Is that you got a bunch of cameras and you have this group of people, and then you went all in at it. So I think it's pretty cool that you could be able to showcase that in a way that's really meaningful for people. Plus, what I find is that a lot of people are searching YouTube, right? So I think Google's the most searched website, and if I'm not mistaken, YouTube is number 2. And then the beauty of that is I know my sons, 12, 10, and 7, watch more YouTube than Netflix, Hulu, ABC, NBC, all this chase and share in the United States. So that's really where people's attention are. And so, again, if I'm an aspiring actor, actress, man, what if I have like 10,000 subscribers? You don't need 1 million. Of course, you want to get there, but let's say I have 10,000 people that constantly, and, you know, that have subscribed to my channel. But of that 10,000, let's say, you know, 2,000, 20% are constantly watching my stuff, right? Like that's a big deal, right? Because some stations on cable don't get that many to begin with that watch their stuff, right? So it's something that's something that's really interesting to me, that oftentimes we think about really big numbers when in reality, just allow that to mature. You know, a lot of times stand-up comedians, they go from like, you know, dive bar to club to, you know, different places, you know, 10, 15, 20, 50 people in a room or less. And they're doing it in order to hone in their craft, and they'll do it for years, for like decades. Great book by David Spade, and a phenomenal book by Steve Martin, where he talks about like Born Standing Up, and then David Spade's was I can't remember what it is, but basically he talks about how his journey was, and I just watched recently on Netflix when I was driving out, actually listening to it, Hassan, it's a stand-up comedian, but he talks about how he was running around for like 6 to 7 years before he got a Pizza Hut deal, and then I think it was like year 8 or 10 that he actually finally got a job at the Jon Stewart show. And so oftentimes for us, right, like we look at it and we see him as a finished product, but we weren't there over all those months and years where he was just performing in these tiny little places, again, for like 15, 20, maximum 50 people in these tiny bars throughout the country here in the United States. So I think oftentimes, people, they get caught up in this game of, so-and-so's got millions and millions of people following. Well, were you watching them when they had nobody, right? Because everyone started with zero, right? Unless you're like Tom from MySpace, and then everyone that had to join was your friend, and that's how MySpace was. So I think, influence and connections always start in small numbers, and it continues to grow. So that's what's kind of fascinating as I think about like this community, this world, the online world, meaning that is you're building a network, right? So same thing if I were to do it here at home or here in Houston, right? I'm new to the area. I would start with people that I know, start with my brother and his family, and then start with my parents and their family, not their family, their connections, right? And I would just blossom out from there. But it would take me a while to get to know a few thousand people, right? It would literally take me years. Now I could do it faster by going to chamber events and networking events and being quicker about it that way. Same thing would work here, right? If I want to build a specific community, maybe I follow a specific individual and I engage with their community, right? So let's say I'm all about Tony Robbins, and then I follow like any post that he has. Maybe if I'm big into entertainment, I follow The Rock or whatever. And so I'm really just engaging with other people that like this individual, right? This actor, actress, this fitness person. And so by really engaging in that community, I'm finding like-minded people that we connect with, right? And so building a network online just takes time, right? Can you leverage some tools, some apps to be able to get followers? Sure. The question is it real engagement, right? Just because I have 10,000 people following me, and then when I make a post, only 100 like it, that's really not a lot of engagement, right? I'd rather have like 1,000 people and 100 people, right? I'd rather have 10% engagement versus 1%. So I don't want to dilute my engagement just by leveraging a tool. Getting so fixated on numbers, to me, is short-sighted when the ultimate goal is influence and engagement, right? Because once one person is all up on me, once that one person then can then share that with their friends, and they may or may not like me. And so it's all about the individual, right? Even though you might collectively want to get to the masses, it's all about the individual, connecting with them, seeing if they like your brand of communication. And that's really what it comes down to. And then that person might have influence or not, right? So if, let's say, I'm an aspiring actor or actress, maybe somebody that watches me is a director or producer, and they can make those decisions, right? It's a heck of a lot better to have that one person who's a producer or a director that can pick me versus 10,000 other people that are just peers that might not even buy or even engage with me to like my stuff long term, right? That to me is real influence, right? It's the individual that matters, not just the collective masses. The collective masses do matter over time, but it's about engagement first and quality over quantity. At the same time, I understand that people want to get both, and that's fine. You can get both. Just know that where it comes from. Sorry. I totally have it was callus, had loose skin. No fingernails clippers here, so I just use the old teeth method. It's always funny because people are like, oh yeah, no, people should show like, not some people, though, I think innately, people feel like they should show like this perfectly edited, cropped out video or photo. For me, I don't find any value in something that's too doctored. Unless like you're a graphic designer, you're kind of showing like somebody, instead of dunking a basketball, they're like dunking the moon. I remember a Michael Jordan photo of that where it's literally they took him out of the picture of dunking in a basketball court and they put him into space and he's palming the moon, which was just really, really impactful, which is really cool to see. So it's a different graphic, right? So oftentimes I think people get stuck. They have a bunch of stuff they would love to share, but they don't feel comfortable enough with it because it's not perfect, right? Where I think you just want to embrace the imperfections and people understand that it's a journey of life. And so once you are comfortable with your flaws, then nobody cares, right? Like I'm often, physically we all have different flaws, and so that's just how it is, right? We might not like the shape of our eyebrows, but we might, or we don't like our teeth, or we don't like our hair, or the lack of hair, right? So that's just life, right? Unfortunately, we're all given a different set of physical attributes, and we just gotta embrace them, warts and all, as they say. So that's kind of what's on my mind this morning as I think about just engaging in a way that's meaningful with people. And so if I can ever be of value to someone and help cheering you on, getting you to that next level, whatever that might be to you, please let me know. That's really, really my focus on, that's my mission, is to be positive impact to people, whether it's short-term or long-term, right? Whether you come on this thing, we call social media for like 5 minutes, and boom, you're like, hey, that kind of made me smile today. Boom, impact done. Or if it's like, hey, I've known you for like 20 years, and I want to make sure that my impact to you has been positive as well. Like, that is my mission in life. And if I can help pull you to your fullest extent of happiness and potential, that to me would be extremely rewarding and meaningful. That's what I'm hoping to do for you. And because to me that's meaningful, right? That's what gives me strength to know that I'm on the right pace, and that can translate, that mission, that purpose can translate into my job. It can translate into my relationship with my wife, my kids, my parents, my brother, my brothers, my sister, right? And so purpose and meaning, like mission in life, is far more valuable than goals, because that's what can really stand the test of time, right? The moment that you found your purpose that resonates with you, that's when you become much more determined to overcome the obstacles that might arrive, right? So for the one that comes to example most is, I think Mother Teresa was to be able to just give back to others, right? That was like her mission, give back in a way that was creating positive personal impact to that individual, the one. Right? So that's the way that she was able to do it, right? Based on her life mission and goals. And so it all revolved around that. And so that's what I find for a lot of us is that the goals, once they're accomplished, they don't give lasting meaning because it's done. And now we need to move on to the next thing. So great book, Chop Wood, Carry Water, focuses really on that concept of the process, right? Where this person wants to become a samurai archer, and every day they have to chop wood and carry water. And so the idea is that after 10 years you become a samurai archer, but you have to every single day chop wood and carry water. And it reminds me of, a lot of athletes, and we can understand this from an athletic perspective, right? That all of a sudden, Michael Phelps didn't wake up and all of a sudden was winning goals, right? Like that was a dedication of life and a commitment towards specific swimming skills, right? And a particular way of preparation when it came to actual meet day, right? And meet time. And so we can understand that from an athletic perspective, that it takes time to build up specific skills and strength and stamina and muscle control. But yet we have a hard time seeing that in other aspects of our lives, where that's the value of recognizing we need to be able to focus on the small, simple things that get us to where we want to go. And it's that daily commitment to focus on those small things that will expand over time into large things, right? So good or bad, right? So if I smoke cigarettes today, like one time, I may or may not get cancer in the future. But I smoke cigarettes every single day, compound that over 20 years, there's good likelihood after 20 years of that negative impact that eventually my body's going to get caught up with that, right? Maybe I do get cancer. Maybe I have a shortened life. Maybe my hair gets thinner, right? Like, I get impacted over time on these small decisions, right? Like, if I decide to eat healthy, vegetables, fruit, protein, focusing really on those main groups, then there's really good odds I'll have a healthy heart over 20 years. Now, I can't negate that genetically I can have some things going against me, right? Grandma could have, my grandma did, have a heart problem, so did grandpa, so does my dad, right? So health-wise, we have genes that will work against me in a negative way, but yet I can control, and I can't control genes, right? That's just how I was brought in this beautiful combination of sperm and egg. I can't control that, right? So that's the reality of, each of us, we can't really control the results of certain outcomes. We only can focus on what we can control. And those are the things that really we should be more focused in on, is what can we control? That's the beauty, right? That's the impact. So that's really where I think oftentimes we should focus our time and attention on, is what can we control, and then allow the outcomes to start coming through that. And being okay with those outcomes and recognizing that our actions might need to adjust, or our ultimate goal might adjust based on that. Like, so for example, Flo, who does the commercials for Progressive, she might have an aspiring desire to be a movie actress. But guess what? She's got a pretty sweet gig doing being the face of an insurance company. So she's in gobs of commercials, gobs of posters, right? So ultimately, if her goal was to be able to impact people globally by her profession, maybe she's going to do that now through print and, in this insurance realm, right? That could be her impact. Instead of it being in the movie screen, she now adjusts that, right? And I think oftentimes the more flexible we are with adjusting that goal with our daily actions, that's when we can start having greater impact and not getting too romantic about the end goal, right? Although the end goal might still be something that's invaluable for you, right? So if let's say you want to be an amazing parent, you can't control, though, what your children will do. So you want to teach them the correct principles and values that you think that they want to have, but then you have to have the confidence that they themselves, as a personality unique to themselves, will choose what they choose and be okay with that. That's the hardest part, right? Is being okay with it. So hopefully I can be a cyber cheerleader to you. Thanks for your time and attention. Peace.